Williams to the next manager, and we're on to the other candidates as we're going to go through this. So this show is about Roberto De Zerbi, who you like. You're a fan, and we're going to do a bit of a fan's perspective, I think, on this one. Because you look, first of all, it's nice to be nice, but secondly, you like him.
Yeah, I do. I feel like I'd be more happy with this. Obviously, forget Alonso for a second. I think if De Zerbi was appointed, I feel like I'd be happier than the typical fan. Maybe I'm doing the fan base a disservice there saying that, but I think for me, he's really impressed me since he came to England, and I think since maybe this season when he's maybe started to look a bit normal, a bit human, I think there's a lot of context around that as to why that's happened, and I think if you consider that, I think for me, you can still group him above the rest as like a bit of an outlier for me.
I think there's something in, and we're going to go through it, some of the heights he hits last season, I think actually haven't been stated highly enough. I think what he turns Brighton into, I remember looking at comparison stuff on StatsBomb last year, March, April, and practically every metric you'd want to be high in. Brighton was first, second, third in. Over and over again, I'd be like, hang on, that's it. And then I began to go out, sort of burrowing around it. And I think it is staggering where he ends up taking them to last season. Now, I think this season, there's a couple of bits of context. One is they've suddenly got European football, and it's not Conference League, it's Europa in there, and they had a tough group as well that they wanted to get out of. It was big for the club. I think the other thing is...
They topped it.
And they topped it, yeah. I think the other thing is there was a burden around the additional minutes that's put on, and the players then who've had to come in, and there's been injury issues as the season's wore on. Maybe there's a little bit of people getting used to what it is they do and having a bit more of a Brighton plan under De Zerbi. But I think the other key thing that it is really hard to measure, but you've got to acknowledge, is he lost his, I'd say, two of his four most important players, and both of them played in the same position.
Yeah.
And I think that's massive. I think that you can argue last season's most important players. I think Lewis Dunk will always be there. I think you could make an argument last season Matoma was unbelievably important too, and Matoma's not had anywhere near as impactful a season this season. But the other two were the two centre mids, Caicedo and McAllister. We got McAllister, and I think that's hit them hard.
Exactly. You know, two massive players, and I always say kind of like when this is why it's difficult to judge managers, because the manager never kicks a ball, never makes a save. You are reliant on your players to a certain extent. And Alexis McAllister and Moises Caicedo were both massive players for them. Obviously, they haven't been able to play for them this season, and we've seen a little bit of a drop in that sense. And I don't think it's that much of a surprise. You know, I think it's one of them really where he's just had to get on with it. And I think that Brighton is well known for being really good recruiters, but the players that they've got in to replace, though, they got in a lad called Baleba.
Yeah, barely played for them.
Barely played, and they got in De Hood, who's just gone out on loan in January.
Yeah, he's gone back to Germany.
So clearly hasn't worked. You know, Brighton do get things wrong, like, unlike the narrative would suggest. So he's had to kind of just bear with that. So I think it makes sense that he's...
Baleba to me strikes me as one. They bought him, he's 21. Everyone was saying it might take him 6 months to settle in. I think there's a chance he throws 2 or 3 excellent performances in between now and the end of the season. Next season excels. Yeah. But that doesn't help De Zerbi right now in this conversation, does it? Exactly. It's not used to him.
Exactly, yeah. And I think if we touch on De Zerbi as well, for me, like last season, there was a game I watched it was about 10 years ago or something now, but it was Guardiola come up against Wenger, and they were both trying to play the same kind of football, but one was just completely on a different level of evolution, you know, really cutting edge compared to the man who was maybe a bit past it, but yesterday's man. Last season, when Liverpool faced Brighton away, they made us look outdated, and they made themselves look really cutting edge and modern and new and that. And I felt at the time that, you know, this was De Zerbi and Klopp was looking a bit tired and things. Obviously this season Klopp came back and this again touches on how much your players are impacting things. Yeah. But I do think De Zerbi is part of that school who's like similar to Alonso in terms of just being the next generation, the new wave. Okay, so we're going to start with the trend line. I'm going through the numbers here. This takes us back to the March of 2022, so it's some time ago. It's on the verge of 2 years, 23 months. When you look at the lines that go through, the green line is XG, rolling 10-game average, so it's the rolling 10-game average of XG created. The purple line is a rolling 10-game average of XG conceded. The yellow line that's dotted down is new season, and the blue line is the change of manager. That's when De Zerbi came in. The gap between the green and the purple line at what's approximately the March of last season, the last 10 games of last season, Josh, that is enormous. That is in the territory of what you see from City when they're going for a league title, what you see from Liverpool when they've gone for league titles, what you see from Liverpool. YouTube
Press the button, become a member of the Anfield Wrap from the heart of the city of Liverpool. The best way to enjoy all your Liverpool-based videos, everything you need, every single day. It is the Anfield Wrap.